Alright, so today I'll show you an easier way to plant large amounts of seeds. I think this is probably the most well-known one out there, the seeding square. So this is all for square foot gardening. And really the thing that's going to be shown today is not really for the small gardener, small little beds like this. And for the larger ones, they're using the Earthway and those really expensive seeders. And those work great, but sometimes you have mid beds that don't really necessitate the expensive one, and using something like this can be time consuming. So I did a different iteration of that, and that's what I'll show you after I do this. So let's assume you just have a bed like this, 10 foot, and you probably can get two squares deep for each bed. Using this is effective, it works, but it's also very time consuming. And if you have, like I have here, 3 50-foot beds, I don't want to be using this all the time. I want something that I can just quick and easy prepare the beds, go right down it, put in the seeds, and be done with it. So this is primarily for seeding. It can be working just to give you a marking for transplants, whichever you want to use for it. So I'm simply just going to show you how this one works and then transition into this one and really just kind of show you the time difference between the two. So I'm just going to really quickly, so we're going to go after the 16 because that's what the wooden one is. So that's all your red squares here. So you would put your square down, push it in, make the imprint. So this is a full square foot, and then you have a pen like this, and it has different indentations. They'll show you how deep something is. So this would be 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, and it's really, you just go about and you just hit your holes, and you just kind of keep your finger where your depth wants to be, and you just go around. Well, probably 20-30 bucks on Amazon. But the complaint is the amount of time it takes to do all these. So this is a 10 or 12 foot bed, and we have 50-foot beds, 3 or 4 of them, and that are about 4 foot wide as well. So that can be quite time consuming, especially during the summer months when the sun is all on you. You don't want to be out there that long. You just want to turn your beds, get ready to go. And that's where now this thing comes in. So it's essentially the green thing. It's just a wooden version of that. So using the tops of it, I have the 16 indentations now on the bottom side of this. So essentially I'm just going to do all of that indentations with the one stamp that I put down to make those indentations, and I just go right down the line. So it's just made out of plywood, 3/4 inch with a 1/4 inch on top, 1/2 inch dowels just kind of glued into there, and a handle just to make it nice and easy to move it back and forth. So quick, simple, easy woodworking job to do this. And so now I'll show you the time difference that it takes to do this whole bed as compared to the green one. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing now with the one that has the 16 indentations on it. So I will make varieties of this with the 16, 9, and 4. Those are the most common ones that we use here when we do our seating. So let's see how fast this one goes. Okay, so that's all done. I forgot to look at the timing of the previous one, but that took about a minute. So you can still see nice indentations. You do have to kind of give a little push, so you want to fluff up the beds, get them nice and airy, and then when you use the square foot, just push down and you'll see your indentations of where your square is, as well as the 16 internally. So I forgot to see how long it took using the green one, but that took about a minute. I would assume the other one probably took at least 5 minutes to do. So you're looking at a pretty significant reduction in time associated with this. So it works out pretty well. So that's probably what we'll be using going forward. We'll transition away from the green. I'll make more of the wooden ones with the 9 and 4, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so I went back and made, in addition to the 16 one, I made the 4 and the 9 one. If you look into a lot of how the square foot gardening is, there's really 3 main groups: your 16, your 9, and your 4. And pretty much you'll hit all of your vegetables within that group. So that's why we went after these 3 versus any of the other versions, because pretty much everything's going to fit within those groups. A little different design, still the 3/4 inch, but I just drilled almost all the way through to a point where I could just hammer the pegs in, and instead of a border on top of it, and now it's just framed in with 1/4 inch. So it still works the same. I'd say it works a little better than the first design. So you see your holes, your 4, and you have your 9, and you have the nice square foot design out of that. So now we get the efficiency with it, but you also get the uniformity that you get your seeds planted and your plants growing in the space that you want associated with these. So it works for our setup. It's not going to work for everybody, but it works for us in how we flip our beds through the square foot gardening. Instead of using the speed square, the green one, making our own holes, these things are looking pretty promising. So this is what we'll be using all year. And I'll put a link in the description below to the Etsy shop where you can get all 3 of these. And if it thinks it works for you, we're happy to make them and send them out to you. So we'll continue on as the season goes.